All right, guys, time to get this place opened up. Put a product called Flood on the project truck, make it a little shinier. So, and it's all uniform gloss. Might need a second coat, but you're not here for that. You're here for a day in the shop with the old man, Jimmy, making it work. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well. We're gonna have a good day today. I can feel it in my bones. I have no idea what's gonna go on yet, but I'm gonna get the shop open right now, and you guys can enjoy some clips of what happens in today's video. 2018 Ford Escape. Tire store told me I need brakes. So now you guys know what's going on today. I'm anxious to find out. I always like to learn a thing or two. Maybe if I can help you guys learn something as well, and we can have some fun. A little bit overcast today, 65 degrees. Should have wore a little jacket or something, but it'll warm right up, don't worry. The Florida sun, even if it doesn't come out, it's still gonna warm us 10 degrees or so, I would guess. Haven't even looked at the weather, who needs it? We got tires out here. They need to be covered up though. This brand new tires been sitting out in the rain. We'll have to fix that. All right, let's get this place open up, get to work. Stay tuned. All right, first ticket this morning, Chevrolet Tahoe. I think it's around a 2011 or so. I'll have to check on the year. Customer states, tire store told me I need brakes, calipers, tires, rotors, and it's very rusty. 208,112 miles. Let's double check the year of this monstrosity. Oh, you want a love rating, don't you? Okay, I'll give you a love rating. I'm gonna give it a 6. Pretty clean, not too bad. Oh, let's put a window down, just in case this thing does some weird auto lock deal. I like to always crack the window a little bit. Take a look at the brake fluid, and we'll verify the year. A lot going on right here this morning. 2010, 10 of 09. Let's get this thing in the air. Oh, after we look at the brake fluid. It's chilly out, man. I'm wondering if I might have to put my t-shirt back under my uniform shirt. Almost feels like it got a little cooler out, but maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know. Brake fluid looks good. Airborne. Heavy corrosion is the worst. Uh-oh. This one looks like it's getting hot. All right, let's get these wheels off, stop horsing around. Oh, I gotta say, that's a first. I'm guessing the center caps are rattling a little bit. 22 millimeter, aka 7/8. Ooh, those are big. All right, well, it's about 4 or 5 millimeter on this wheel, right on the edge. These things are big. Oh, same thing over here. It's about 3, maybe 4 millimeters in the back too. Definitely got a lip. The inner pad's about the same. Here. Well, this side looks a little better. The side that looked like it was, has like that orangey tint to it, like it got hot, but maybe that's just an orangey tint. Because if the pads are getting hot on this side, they wouldn't be thicker than the other side, right? This is like 5 or 6 millimeter on this wheel. Let's see what the inner pad looks like. Yeah, that's about 3 or 4 millimeter, so a little uneven pad wear. No emergency brakes, really. We'll just let them know they're right on the edge where they can go a little longer, or we can take care of it. It's a holiday season, so you'd think the money would be going towards Christmas presents. Maybe he's getting himself some brakes for Christmas. I don't know. Let's go see. Get a little OBD action. Ooh, you came unscrewed. Sorry about that. 2018 Ford Escape. One of the best vehicles ever made if you're a mechanic. Simply because of the revenue it generates. 72,719 miles. About the life expectancy for your average Ford Escape. Misfires. Worst cold, but it misfires all the time. The worst cold thing, I don't really... It's kind of strange, but I definitely feel a misfire. Check engine lights on. So we'll see what kind of codes we have. And the codes will determine whether we're going to look more towards fuel or spark. Generally, a bad coil is the cause of misfires on these, but an injector is more likely if it's worse cold. It's kind of strange. Sometimes it just feels that way and it's a coil the whole time. In any event, Phoenix Light 2, auto scan. We'll see what the codes are and we'll go from there. We are scanning away, checking all the modules, and this thing is not running good. Tach looks fairly steady, but you can feel it. It's got a, it just goes bup, 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 runs smooth, bup, 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 runs smooth, kind of strange. 2 codes in the PCM. Misfire, cylinder 4, misfire on startup. Tailgate, liftgate, luggage compartment latch switch. That's separate from what she's concerned with. She didn't mention a tailgate problem, so okay. Let's go to cylinder 4. I think I'll bust out the old. I have a GTC 505, I believe it's called, which checks ignition patterns, and that'll lead you to the correct cylinder and make sure it's on 4 like it says here, which I'm sure it will be. I just haven't busted that tool out in a while, and I made a little video yesterday talking about it, so I'm gonna use it real quick instead of just moving the coil right off the bat like I normally would. I'll show you how that tool works real quick. Alright, under special functions in power balance, it gives you the same pattern an IDS scan tool does. You can see cylinder 4 not coming to the party. These cylinders are trying their best. This misfires, and then there's a strange recovery, which is normal because the crankshaft actually works like a spring. When it has a little misfire, it's recovering on the next cylinder, so it'll always show some misfires around the cylinder that's actually causing the issue. You can look at it with this tool. This is the GTC 505 I was talking about. Now, if you watch a good cylinder, the pattern's pretty steady. The spark line is the middle line. It stays, everything's staying pretty steady across all the coils. You know, it moves around a little bit, that's normal. Number 4 being the bad one, you'll see a difference. Watch the 3rd line in the spark pattern, and you see how it's bouncing around. That's a misfire. So this is the primary side loading the coil. When it fires is the 2nd line, and the 3rd line is showing you the dwell time of the spark. So when this line moves closer, the cylinder misfired. That's why it's bouncing around. The other cylinders don't do that. They're not misfiring. This one is. So most likely it's a bad coil. I just wanted to show you that this tool, I mentioned in the video, you guys will have to watch for that. It'll be on a Saturday. But I bought this mostly for Ford V8s and engines where you can't get under the intake and stuff like that. You can read the coil pattern without having to take the intake apart and have a good idea that a coil might fix it. When you see that happening, the coil's not doing its job. So you have to be very careful too that you're not dealing with an injector problem, but generally it's going to be a lot steadier on the coil, but that spark line will be closer together, just that it won't be moving back and forth. It'll just be closer all the time because the injector's not firing, right? That's basically how that works to test those things without taking anything apart. Now I'm going to move the coil just to verify it 100%, and we'll see what happens with that. That's cool. Ford said 1 bolt is not getting it done. We're going to go to 2 bolts on our coils from now on. Look at that thing. That's cray-cray. Ew. Sometimes you can look and see a burn through on the boot itself. It's hard to say for sure in this one, so we'll just carry on with the moving theory. I'm not going to even bolt the coil down. Oh my goodness gracious. They find ways to make a 4-cylinder tune-ups complicated. Anywho, now let's fire it up. I'm not going to bother bolting them down. It'll be fine. And we'll bring that pattern back up, the power balance pattern back up, and that problem should move to 3. That's this cylinder. Let it run for a second. Maybe not. Let's try bolting it down just in case it's still complaining. That's interesting. Now I gotta take a look at the spark plug, because we're dealing with a spark issue. I'm glad I didn't just sell a coil and go on, right? Alright, the one in my fingers is cylinder 4, and the one in the spark plug socket cylinder 3. You can see there's quite a bit of carbon buildup. Nice and tan. This one's a little black. Very strange. Very strange. I'm going to switch these plugs and we'll see if the problem moves. If not, we could be looking at a fluttering valve starting over. Let's move these plugs first and go from there. Oh, actually feels like it stopped misfiring right now. Moving the coil, and I put the coils back where they were and just moved the spark plug only, so I know for sure which one might be the issue. And the problem seems to have stopped right now. There's quite a bit of carbon going in. I almost wonder if disturbing the plug could knock carbon off, if it had carbon closing the gap on the plug a little bit or something like that. But I'm gonna let it run a minute and we'll look at that raster pattern and see if 3 got worse than 4. This is a spark plug. This thing needs a good tune-up. I don't think the tune-up's due on these to 100,000, but I'll have to check. 72,000, that spark plug's doing something. I moved it from 4 to 3, and you can see 3 is giving us most of the issue, although it seems better. So possibly I knocked carbon off of it when I disturbed it and moved it from cylinder to cylinder. So I knew it was an ignition pattern, the way that spark time was shortening. Every time it would misfire, the spark time was shorter. So in any event, tune up, and I'll probably recommend a good induction service too. Definitely good idea to do induction services on these direct injection vehicles. Carbon on the intake valves is a big issue with misfires too, and they also tend to be worse cold than the hot. Matter of fact, when they first start off, it'll misfire cold, and when it warms up, it'll go away at first. But as the carbon problem gets worse, it'll keep doing it hot, just not as bad. So we got to cover the bases with an induction service and spark plugs. I'm also not seeing any coolant in the overflow, so we'll have to look around for leaks and top that up. I'm sure it's a beautiful oak tree. Tell me something. How do the leaves get under the windshield wiper cowl and then under the coils? I don't know. What was it in? Was it in a storm? That's pretty bad. I think it's safe to take the spark plugs out now. It's ridiculous. It's got to get under the hood, under the wiper cowl, under the coil to get down here. There's like 3 cups of leaves in there. Oh well, we'll get it taken care of. Spark plugs, air filter, and induction service. Oh, and now some parts. Whoa. Laser iridium premium. If it says that on there, that's good stuff. It's NGK, so let's see where they're made at. Germany, oh, UK, USA, South Africa, Indonesia, so it could be anywhere. Vietnam, Philippines, Canada, Mexico, France, Australia. They make them all over the world. As far as these ones though, it says Japan. That's where NGK is based out of, I believe. So it's a world economy. Yep, Japan. It's a world economy. That's why a lot of people have left comments about, you know, supporting whatever brands and stuff. It's a world economy. And these came from a US seller, right? So someone's got a job based on it. While I do agree with that sentiment, I sure wish it'd be a little easier to sort all that stuff out. A lot of companies are very deceptive. And it'll say packaged in the USA, made in the USA with globally sourced parts, that kind of thing. They're a little sneakier, so you really got to pay attention. Enough flapping of the gums. Let's get these plugs in. You do not want to put any weight on that electrode. You can't really find the spark plug well too easily on these because it's at an angle. That's why the coils have those weird angles on them. You wouldn't think it would be such a catastrophe to try to find it, right? Let's go down here. We'll try to go over here first. We'll get ourselves oriented. See anything because the wiper cowl is in the way. Thank you. Now I'm guessing that Ford found something in the combustion chamber, or if they rotated the spark plug around like this, it made a difference in combustion efficiency or something, because they definitely made it more complicated. Where are you at now, man? Come on, let's do this thing. I'm going to spin them in with my power tools, save the pickle juicers, and go over these by hand after they're all snugged. That's the plan anyway. Don't you do it. I'm trying to gravity check my ratchet. That's terrible. Alright. This one doesn't want to take a spark plug. That's alright. It'll be a 3-cylinder from now on. That's. I don't want to even push the extension in until I know that ground electrode is in the hole that it goes in. Because if it's not, if it's next to it and you push the extension in, you can bend the ground, right? Since the engine's under the windshield, you just gotta be a little more cautious. Don't get all up into flat rate mode. Alright. There it is. Pretty tight. Little dielectric on my curls. boots are not available separately. You got to buy the whole coil. So we're just going to reuse these, which, since we moved the plug already and saw the problem move, should be pretty good. The chances are very high that spark plugs will fix it. I'm still not convinced till I fire it up when I'm done. Like that Kia, when I moved the coil and the problem moved, it just coincidentally started flagging that cylinder for a misfire that I moved the coil to. But it was cam timing because the phaser wasn't right. If you saw that video, you gotta jiggle the coil back in place. Like I said earlier, 2 bolts per coil. Otherwise the highways would be littered with coils. We don't want that. I'm just gonna put them all in. Then I'll tighten them all at one time. What did I tell you guys while I'm bolting these in? I ordered the wheels for the 62 project truck, and I found one wheel on eBay, and the seller wasn't responding very well to messages and stuff. I told him I wanted to buy a whole set. He had them listed as singles. I asked him if he can do better on the price if I buy a whole set. He never responded, so I just paid for the one wheel. And he mailed me air fresheners in a priority mail envelope so that it would say my item was delivered on eBay. So I contacted eBay. I have almost 1,800 positive feedbacks myself as a seller and buyer on eBay. I've been dealing with them for quite a while, about I think 22 years or so, 20 something years. Anyway, so basically he tried to scam the wrong person, sending me air fresheners in a priority mail envelope, and the tracking says delivered in mailbox. So it's hard to put a 20 by 9 inch wheel in a mailbox. So after some chatting with an eBay rep, he's sending me out another wheel. In the meantime, I tried to order 3 from Jegs, who said they had them in stock, but they didn't. And after 5 days of no response from them, they said, oh, we didn't have your item in stock. We apologize for the delay. So I said, just give me my money back. And I found another seller, and I ordered 4 from them. And it said they were going to be here Wednesday, and now this morning I looked, the tracking says it's coming Monday, which is today. So we'll see what happens with all that. Hopefully he doesn't send me air fresheners. Might be the same guy under a different name, I don't know. And the only reason I'm buying the wheels on eBay is because they're not available anywhere. No one's got them in stock, and if you go on the Boyd's website, it says basically to be determined. So what gives people a hard time on these air filters is you have to push it in until this lip goes down in the housing. And in this top, the lip has to go into the upper, and the bolts have to all line up. And there's 4 of them, one of which is really hard to see down there. It's interesting. Oh my goodness gracious. That's in there right. That's in there right. filters as much work as the spark plugs. Alright, this is going to go in the gas tank. This is a foam, does the best job of cleaning the valves, I think. And this liquid goes in a dispenser last and finalizes the valve carbon cleaning procedure. So let's get this set up. We got to find us a port that we can tap into, which I think is going to be this EGR valve line. I should be able to pop that off and attach a T to it or something. And I'll dump this in the gas tank first. Thankfully they changed the filler neck so it fits in the capless systems. Ford loves those. So let's go see if this fits in the gas tank. Told you. See the videos online of ooh, the tires. If I get the wheels today, that'd be cool. You see the videos online of these going making fart noises and stuff. That's from the valve, the purge valve being stuck and it's forcing air in. Sometimes the vent is restricted and that causes it too. So, but fairly common problem. And they only did it because people are bad about putting their gas cap on correctly. They're like, man, they're really dumb. Let's eliminate the possibility of them doing something dumb. Of course, the filler neck isn't that great either. So now you have to fix that instead of tightening your gas cap correctly. Let's see what we can do about tapping into this. They freeze dried that thing. Looks like it's going to fall off any day. Oh, phone's ringing. Snap this thing on here. Pop that off. Now I got my little hose on the manifold nipple. Sometimes this will fall out of there. Hopefully it doesn't. When you start it up, it might run like crapola, and we don't like that. I'm going to start up. I'm going to back it up a little bit too, so that it's not in the shop. It'll gives off a little smoke sometimes, smells a little bit, things like that. So I'm going to fire it up. Going to raise the throttle so it's at 1500 to 2000 RPM. Using my little using my throttle stop tool, and get this thing running like a champ. I'm going to put about a third of a can, let it sit 8 to 10 minutes. Another third of a can, let it sit 8 to 10 minutes. And then the rest of the can, let it sit a little while. And then we'll get the other container that you hang from the hood catch, put this in there, and this should run all the way through. It'll trickle it in very slowly afterwards. This is going to be a good half hour or so process, so I won't make you watch me put this cleaner in for a half hour. And we'll come back when we're nearing the end of the process. That's about it. It's a bottomless can, I guess. Feels like it's empty. There we go. Now nothing's coming out of it. I'm going to shut it off. Let this sit about another 5 or 10 minutes. Then we'll start the other bottle, which is conveniently already hanging from the hood. Now this one is going to take 20 minutes or so, maybe a little longer. This is the fixed orifice one I started using. It actually goes nice and slow. You got to be really patient, but that's the only way it does a good job. If you use the adjustable one and you rush through it, you're just wasting the chemical. You're not really cleaning the valves. Even this product doesn't clean the valves 100%. It just improves or reduces the carbon that's trapped on the back of those intake valves. Anytime you have carbon on the valves like that, it causes a turbulence and disrupts the airflow. You basically want that air flowing in there the way it's designed, and the carbon disrupts the air and makes it tumble and causes all kinds of drivability issues. Slightly rough idle, poor fuel economy, lack of power, all that stuff. So the air going in is as important as the air going out, right? So let's just run a little while instead of flapping my gums, and we'll come back. Well, it's been 20 minutes, so we got a few more minutes to go. We are running this thing to the end, but I do see the light at the end of the tunnel, so that's nice. Oh, it's almost there. There it goes. The last few little bubbles got to leave that line. Make sure there's no check engine light. Pop this engine cover back on. Just a piece of foam. Take this thing for a drive, and then we'll see what's next. All right, we got approval on the brake job. Uh-oh, is that the right one? Ah, the caliper bolts are bigger than the pad bracket bolts. Isn't that strange? 19 milliliter. Let's see here. Look at that, you sons of guns. The bracket is 18 and the caliper is 19. That's all right. Works, I guess. I don't have a free hand here, and I do not want to drop a caliper on a YouTube video because all hell will break loose. I'll have to put you down a second. We don't want any trouble on the internet. Heaven forbid. Couple of those. Got to get a Torx for the rotor. My gracious goodness. Uh-oh. That's no good. You have to get one of them there wrenches for that. Uh-oh. Might be too late for that bolt. Uh-oh. Couldn't have boogered it up that much already, could I? Maybe I did. I feel a little bit sad now. Well, let's see what kind of hammer we got close by. I can file the bolt flat. If I can get it out first. Ah, woo-wee. That's okay. Let's get the warranty checker. All right, you. This is gonna get ugly. I don't mean by me being in the picture. I mean by that. See, it's easy. Careful. Alright. Well, now I have to box myself into a corner. I'm going to have to turn the thing all the way out with a wrench. Gotcha. Alright, let's file this thing. Oops. Sorry, you can file that part if you want. I took the big lips off on the bench grinder and cleaned it up a little bit with the file. Come over here, will you? A little bit on these two spots. Alright, let's see if the socket will fit on it. Ah, I missed. Did it 3 times till I turned the camera on. It's actually in a lot better shape than it looks as usual. So, I'm just going to make sure everything's smooth, knock off anything loose. It's going to be like brand new. A little bit of the Tin Man for the next guy. Take some of my Earl. This thing has the anodizing and Earl on it. That's how we say it up north. I need an Earl chain. Pasta vinegar and Earl. Gonna do a little under lube. Get my clips. These I definitely like to replace, and the hardware is pretty good too, but it has the spring tension on the pads. Kind of assists the caliper releasing the brakes. Normally only the caliper pulls the pads back or releases the pads because it has a tapered seal that actually rolls when you step on the brake to let the piston out, and then it pulls the piston back in. Just the seal actually rolling and pulling back the piston, and when the piston needs to move to take up adjustment, it slides on that O-ring rather than, but it'll still pull back, but it'll slide out and then pull back a certain amount just to reduce friction. But these just help. I think it's what the engineers refer to as more better, but I'm not positive if that's the technical term for it. My remanufactured bolt, perfect. Outside pad doesn't have any squealer on it, but the inside pad does. Alright. Gonna get this caliper. Got a looby-dooby, already pushed the pistons back with my dual piston caliper tool. And a little bit of lubrication on the contact points. This thing's going back on. I'm going to go with the 19 on this again. I'm not going to put the wheels on because I'm going to bleed the brake fluid. We're going to flush it too. Alright, let's see here. And battery's about halfway. That's my 3.0. So she's not going. Let me get a 13, see what happens. Wasn't that tight? Ah, that's good stuff. The lower one was tighter than the upper. bro.
It grabs it pretty good.
Now it'll take them off. Now they're finger tight, basically. Yep. I'm gonna charge this battery up for the other wheel. See if it'll take it off on the other side with a fully charged battery. It's the biggest 12 battery I have, biggest M12. 18's on the bracket. Wasn't nearly as tight as I thought it would be. Got my special super duper new Milwaukee ratchet with a super duper direct fit 18mm socket. It's a strange thing to get used to, but I like that it's shallow. I have some Capri sockets that are shallow, but that's pretty shallow. These will fit in a gear wrench ratchet too, I believe. I think it's like a 14. I haven't measured it yet. I'm gonna have to check and see for sure. Another thing you gotta watch for in these, sometimes these shoes will delaminate, they'll be sliding around the brackets and all, but these ones are in good shape. Get that oil film off of there. I didn't put any of the Tin Man on this hub because the rotor doesn't fit the hub nearly as tight as it does on the front. So there's no worries about that sticking to itself. I got calipers for the back too. Let's grab those. Alrighty. Even comes with new bolts. That's fancy. 13, 18. My battery's not done charging for the right angle, so I'll just do it by hand. That's all. Yeah. I'm gonna save this rubber cap just because they're cool. No other reason. That's the only real reason. This one they can have back. They're using vacuum caps as bleeder caps, I guess. I don't understand it, but I think this is an 11, or looks like an 11. Comes with some really beefy copper washers too. And I'll give them the old bolts back with the calipers too. That'll make them happy. Get off of there. They're gonna be difficult. Okay. Now what are you gonna do? All it takes is a little wrench hammer action. Someone did point out in the comments almost any tool can be a hammer, so I'm not making fair comparisons, but to me that's just not as funny, so I don't say it that way. Knucklehead. Alright. Do the other wheel before we start bleeding stuff. I am going to dump the fluid out of this caliper, put it back in the core with the bolts and everything, holding everything together like a good guy. That's how I roll. You guys know. I think on this one I'll leave the bracket and caliper bolted together. I'll just dump the pads out before I put it in the core box. What do you think about that? Not quite hand ready yet. I got a tool for that. Let's stop all the silliness. Break this one loose. That one was a little tighter. Power tools are should say semi-powerful tools. This one's actually been good. All kidding aside, this is probably my favorite Milwaukee ratchet aside from that adapter piece. If this adapter piece locked in, you had to push like a button or something, it'd be my favoriteest ratchet ever. Gravity check. Let's get this nut off of here. Although, you know what? I think I'll pull that off last, just like I did on the other side, so I can bolt the new one on, transfer it over. It'll just leak a little fluid, but it won't be leaking the entire time I'm working on it. It's got pretty uneven pad wear too, from left to right or inner to outer. And these calipers are troublesome, so we told the customer we could probably do it without them and see if you have a problem down the road. Sometimes Fast and Furious Genesis guy. Probably do it without them, but I've had problems where you can't get the piston back, like on the Fords especially, sometimes on these. But the bigger problem with these I've had is like a week later it'll come back with the brakes smoking because you just did brakes and pushed the piston back, and there's already buildup of corrosion in the piston bore. When you push it back into it, it gets very unhappy. He said, you know what, I'm having you do them early so I don't have any problems. Let's do them and not have any problems. That's the bottom line. He's giving himself breaks for Christmas. Battery's not done charging, by the way, so we've foregone that test until another day. We'll do it. Oh, there you go. Rotor wasn't all the way back. I'm like, wait a second, that caliper bracket's not right. Hardware. Little clips here hold it in pretty well. They're not the best, but it'll work. That's the standard. It'll work. I always put a little bit of grease on the caliper contact points too. You've been watching a while, you know that. Yeah, the slides are already all redone. Don't have to worry about those. Squealer pad inboard. Preferably with a squealer at the top, but it does not have to be. It's not really critical. I've said before, they'll be louder in one direction than the other, but they're going to squeal when the pads get low. And this guy doesn't let the pads go all the way down anyway. This vehicle goes on trips. He's been coming here for years. He goes on decent length trips. Doesn't want problems. So, some new dormant parts will be good to go. Just kidding. They're not dormant parts. Lately, the dormant parts have actually been pretty good, I gotta say, all kidding aside. I haven't had problems with the dormant parts I've installed lately. That doesn't mean I won't soon. It just means I haven't lately. When you point it out, of course, it's almost guaranteed, you know that. All right, you. Sometimes these washers get crushed and there's no getting them off. So you can use side cutters to cut them off. You can grab them with pliers and spin the bolt. That's what I'm going to do. Put this and the caliper, washer in the garbage, and this is going to get a washer on each side of the hose, started by hand of course, finished with power tools. That is an aluminum caliper, so don't get too shag nasty with the power tools. All right, we're gonna put the old vacuum flusher tool on every wheel till we get some nice clean fluid coming out. Usually I leave it on there about 2 or 3 minutes a wheel. This guy does maintain this pretty regular. We're not doing it because the fluid's real nasty. We're doing it for maintenance. He does it like every 2 years, whether it needs it or not. I'll come back when we're on the last wheel. Just about done over there. Well, I got to bring my cores up front. Let's go seat these brake pads. Customer's not picking up till the morning, but I still got to make it right. We're just going to put it in the fence when we're done and set it out front like usual. Oh man, we got a good brake pedal. Oh, that's going to be good. Take this thing for a little drive and see if we can get something else done today when I get back. Alright guys, I got the old 62 on the alignment rack. That means this video is coming to a close. I was hoping to get something else done today, but ran out of time. As you can see, all the doors are closed. So thanks for watching. Torque the like button on your way out if you will, if you got something from this video. And subscribe if you haven't yet. If you're new here, hope I see you in the next video because you're awesome.